Hello, friends. Amy Rose here. It has been a little while since I've come on here and done a video, actually, quite a few years. So I thought I would give you a little life update as to what I've been up to since all of the madness of the 2020 years. So currently, I'm in this cute little cabin. I'm up north in like one of my favorite places. It's surrounded by trees, and there's Canadian Shield Rock and a beautiful river and waterfalls. It's actually like just such a dream. And this is my last day here. And it's kind of a little solo retreat with my dog. And so I thought I'd pop on here and yeah, and kind of update you guys on where I've been, what I've been up to. So, so I had been living in the city at the beginning of 2020, and I moved back to my hometown. I was working in the events industry at the time, and that was totally decimated. And so I moved back to my hometown, and man, it was just such a crazy time. It was like an incredibly expansive time, but also such like so many challenges. Um, I had already had quite a foundation of holistic health at that time. And then one thing just led to another. I learned a bit of information here, there, and I started to put it together. And I started speaking out about all of the deception. And yeah, I started to lose some friends. I had a lot of people come out of the woodwork to hate on me and to just yeah throw shade. And wow, it was crazy times. People were not really like themselves at that time. But but I also connected with so many of you. It was like such a great time. I was doing lives with Tom Barnett, who's Australian, and I gained a ton of Australian followers. I gained a ton of followers from all over the world, and we were just having conversations, just talking about a different paradigm of how we can understand health. And it was just such an incredible time. I learned so much during those years. I just had my nose in the books and was reading and sharing what I was learning with you guys. And it was great. You guys, you commented, and um, many of you reached out. We had holistic health consultations, diving into your health challenges and finding out how we could turn that around for you. I loved connecting with you guys so much during that time. And yeah, but yeah, so since then, I've just been kind of like pulling back and integrating. I feel like we all kind of have a bit of PTSD from that time. We're certainly not back to any kind of normal, but I think we're all still probably processing a lot of what went down. And I know many relationships were shattered, and worldviews, and a lot of awakening happened at that time. So I think we're probably all still processing it quite a bit. But yeah, so for me, I moved back to my home area, and like I wanted to learn all of the things that I hadn't had a chance to learn yet. Like at the age of 40, well, at the time, I guess I was 36, but now at the age of 40, like there were still some things that I hadn't learned that were just so foundational. Like I wanted to learn how to farm and how to grow plants and how to care for plants. So I connected with local farmers. I volunteered on a organic farm that was owned by this little old couple. They're so cute. Uh, I learned how to chop wood. Like I still didn't even know how to chop wood. Um, Even this last summer, I learned how to properly care for tomato plants and cucumber plants. Like these foundational things that I still hadn't learned. Um, so I really enjoyed those last few years. And then I also got a dog, something I'd always wanted to do and always wanted to have a dog. And for anyone that's been a husky owner, you would know like how challenging that can be. It's like kind of a challenging breed, but it was, I knew that was the breed that I wanted, and absolutely no regrets. You know, I have a dog who, he makes his own decisions, and most of the time he makes good decisions. Like for instance, right now, he is off leash, no no collar, no harness, and he's just like free as a bird walking around and having autonomy. And that's always something that I wanted, was to have this kind of bond with an animal. So I'm so stoked to have been able to do that over these years. And something else I've been doing is is I got a TikTok account. Now I haven't really been too active on there, but I've just been observing. And getting TikTok was something I was like resistant to for a long time because I was like, I don't need another distraction. But oh my God, it has been like such an incredible, interesting study into where the collective is at. Like, you see people being really raw and real on TikTok. Like I find IG is more people are more concerned with like the grid and the aesthetics of your grid and like the color palette. And on TikTok it doesn't matter. It's like it's about the realness, and it's like in the moment, hitting record and sharing your feelings, and it's like very vulnerable. Um and I feel like for Gen Zers, particularly the younger generation, like it's very cathartic for them to, hit record and upload a video and just be so vulnerable and just like lay it all out. And so here I've been like watching as people are fully crashing out on this platform and completely like laying it all out, and just like they're not having a good time, and so many people. It's not just Gen Z. And my heart just breaks and really goes out to everyone who is not having a good time right now. And it's no wonder. Like it's a natural response to like what's happening in the world. And yeah, my heart just breaks like watching these people just say they don't want to be here anymore, and that they are just they can't believe the way life is. A lot of these younger kids are coming of age now, and they're becoming adults, and they're like, what? We work, we toil, we labor, and we pay bills and die, and even barely pay for life, like hardly even making bills, rent, and so on. I don't need to go into that really too much. You guys know, I think for the most part, how things are shaping up, especially in Canada. It's very challenging, but it's worldwide, and it's going to be worldwide too. And so here I am. I'm watching these people like fully crash out, and it just hurts my heart so much. And over the years, I have developed my own like incredibly rich, beautiful, spiritual life that I've been through some incredible challenges, more than one dark night of the soul, and had to pull myself out of depression and anxiety and addiction, and it's like always an ongoing kind of thing, but I've really been able to find these specific concepts, particularly from the yogic tradition, because I am a yoga teacher. I've done a few different yoga trainings. I've a few different courses, and I've really dived deep into some of these yogic concepts, particularly the cycles of the yugas, the cycles of consciousness, which I've talked about a few times on here, and just really dove into these concepts, and they literally healed my heart, just knowing that where we're at right now, where we're at in the human story. And it's just helped me have a level of peace and acceptance for where we're at right now. I mean, I've learned so much about karma and dharma and cycles and vibration and lifestyle things like discipline and overcoming addictions, understanding and asking those big questions of like, why are we here, and what are we all doing, and what is the purpose of the collective of humanity? What is our purpose? And then what is my individual purpose within that? What happens when we die? All of these big questions. I mean, I've been asking these since I was young. Any of you that are into astrology, I'm a double Sagittarius, Scorpio moon, and typically we're just like very really, really dialed into those questions, and they're just like the sort of theme of our lives. And so here I am. I'm watching people crash out. I've created this incredibly potent spiritual inner standing for myself, And I'm like, you reach a point where you can't just keep bringing information in. You have to start putting information back out there to help others. And so I really just reached this point in my life where I'm like, okay, it's time. It's time to start sharing what I've learned and putting some out there in hopes that it will help someone, and that it'll help someone develop a different perspective about what's happening, a different perspective about this particular time in humanity's story, and what we're doing and what we can do to live our best lives during this time. And many of us have gone through a bit of an awakening, whether you have just woken up, maybe COVID times woke you up, maybe you've been awake for like a decade or even 20 years. It can still be quite challenging because the path is never linear. We always, we tend to falter and fall off of the path. Living in the matrix, it's a very challenging thing. Like it's got heavy programming. And so you have to like be very vigilant of your own attention. What are you spending your attention on? And our attention is actually one of like the greatest currencies in this world right now. Everything is grabbing for your attention. But it's important that we really focus that. And yeah, like I've had some of you reach out, say that you've awakened, and but your life is not the same. Like you can't relate to anyone anymore. Like you can't have like deep conversations that you want to have because everyone around you is still kind of asleep. Some of you have said, I've awakened, but now I just can't find the will to do anything. Like all the things that I used to love doing, I don't want to do them anymore, because nothing makes sense, and it seems pointless, and I totally understand that. Like awakening can be one of the most beautiful experiences in one's life, like that expansiveness. But it can also be one of the most earth-shattering experiences in someone's life too, especially if they don't have like a guide or a mentor or like someone there to sort of catch them and help them through and sort of hold their hand through it. We're not taught this. We're not taught how to navigate waking up to the lies and the deception in the world. We're not taught it in public school. We're just taught how to become worker bees. And so, so how do we navigate it? How do we navigate the awakening process? And how do we land on our feet and, not get sucked into the despair? Because that can happen, where you just where everything then just feels pointless, and then you kind of go into a pit of despair. And don't let that happen. We don't want that to happen. We are in the Great Awakening. We are at an incredible moment in time where people are waking up, people are asking questions, people are looking at the world with different eyes and saying, can I trust this? Can I believe this? I just think it's really exciting times to be alive. I'm very, very like thankful to see more people waking up. I certainly wish I had like a bigger community around me. But it's happening. People are starting to come together, which is so amazing. And that's what we need. We need togetherness. And if in your physical world there's not many people awake like you, then we have to kind of come together in these online spaces, which is where we're all kind of showing up anyways. So we're always, the scrolling has become part of our day-to-day. And so this has prompted me to create an online space. So I've created a private subscriber community on an incredible platform called Locals. So for a long time I wanted to do this, but I was like, if I put my content anywhere, like the things I'm gonna say, the truth I'm gonna be talking about, I'm just gonna get like canceled like right away, or SHADOW banned pretty quick. So I had to be very like specific. What platform am I gonna put this on? So I couldn't find anything, and then all of a sudden one day, this one comes across my screen, and it was created by a man who was from Patreon. And so he created this free speech platform where, you can talk about the truth and the lies and the deception. But this community isn't just going to be about that. It's going to be about these spiritual concepts that have really helped me in my life. We're going to talk about just some really incredibly deep, amazing things that you can add to your life experience. And not only that, I'm going to be encouraging you with your health and amplifying your health and movement and breathing. And, I'm not going to give it all away right now, but a bunch of different modalities that are actually really fun to add to your life that can help you strengthen yourself during this time. Because in the years that are going to come, we're going to need to be at our best mentally, physically, and spiritually. So, that it is the time. The time is now to really start to sharpen our sword and really step into our highest selves, our most loving selves, and loving towards ourself. So you can also expect we're going to talk about addictions and how to let go of some addictions. I myself this has been a journey for me as well. And I'm excited to share about that too. So, I can tell you that joining this group, you will be happier and healthier because of it. Now, before you scroll away, you're like, oh, this is getting too salesy. I'm making this very, very affordable, literally so affordable for everyone. It's only going to be $9 a month. Because I know that people can't afford to hire a coach for thousands of dollars a month. That's not reasonable. It's not practical for the majority of people. And the people that need the help are the ones who are really stuck in it, and are having financial challenges. So for now, it is going to be $9 a month. And yeah. So I'm so excited. I hope that you will check it out. The link will be in my bio. So I'm going to be going live on Instagram for Tuesdays, all Tuesdays, at least until the end of the year. Every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. I'll be going live here on Instagram to just start talking. Let's just start talking about this stuff. Let's start having conversations. And yeah, I've loved connecting with you guys here on Instagram. So this is where, I really blossomed a few years ago and really stepped out. And this is where I want to do that again. So Tuesday nights at 7. And so check it out, Amy Rose 999. And too, with the name change, 999 is the number of completion, because we are at the end of a cycle. We are at the end of this cycle and we're beginning anew. And 999 also represents service and wisdom and spiritual awakening. And so we are at the end of this cycle. We're beginning a new cycle, and there's nothing to fear. And that's a big message too in my whole entire message, is that we don't need to fear what's coming. And I'm going to encourage you in different ways, different things you can do to remove that fear. So I'm really excited. We're writing a new story for humanity, and I'm just so excited to dive in and start sharing all of this with you guys. All right, my friends, I will see you inside the group.